Here we go, Yankees, here we go. Here we go, Yankees, here we go. Boom! And the crowd goes wild! Woo! Baseball, America's favorite pastime. Baseball season is one of my favorites because it brings me back to being a little girl. My love affair with the Bronx Bombers started at a very young age. My dad's love affair at the Yankees began when Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, came to the New York Yankees. He was an incredible player that my dad loved to follow. When he landed with the New York Yankees, that's where it all started. My dad always had the Yankees on whenever they were playing. Being a daddy's girl, I would cuddle up next to him while he was watching the game on TV. He would cheer, then I would cheer. At that age, I really didn't know what I was cheering for, but I did it anyways because my dad was. He would get mad and scream at the TV, so I would start screaming at the TV. Not really understanding, but I did it anyways. As I grew older, I continued to watch games with my dad. I guess you could say it was our bonding time. The more I watched the sport, the more I understood it. I would learn new things every game because after a while, all the cheers and upsets, I had to ask why. I would say, "Dad, why are we cheering?" He'd say, "Gina, we just scored a run," which would lead to another question my busy brain had. "Dad, what's a run?" He would say, "Gina, it's when someone gets to run to home base, which is at base by the catcher, and he doesn't get called out by the ump. This means we score a point every time someone runs home without being called out." I would put it all together in my brain and think, oh, that makes sense. So there it was, almost like going to class on baseball every time a game was on. I've always looked up to my dad. Of course, he was so knowledgeable about the things I was dying to learn about. So there it was. If he liked the Yankees, I was going to like the Yankees. That decision is held strong here today. We had created a tradition of always watching the baseball game together whenever the Yankees were playing. The more I watched them on TV, the more I learned about things such as outs, home runs, positions played, and so on. Not only did I learn about the game, I learned about the team, the players, their stats, and what positions they played. As I anxiously watched the games, one player stood out to me. His name was Tino Martinez. I don't know why I started liking him, I just did. My face would always perk up when the camera zoomed in on him. He wasn't the flashiest player they had, or even the best, but he was the man in my book. I also took note of the manager of the Yankees at that time, Joe Torre. He reminded me of my dad for some reason. When I looked at Torre, I found comfort in his eyes. He kept me riveted because he would never ever smile. He would only smile when we won a game. So winning a game for us was payoff just to see him coming running out with a smile when we won. The game had really changed for me at this point. I felt invested in the team, with countless hours I had put in watching them and learning about the players. With the many late nights staying up past my bedtime with my dad just to finish a heart-wrenching, keep you at the edge of your seat game. I began to feel the same exact feelings my dad was feeling. Not just because my dad was doing it, it was because I was emotionally invested to this team and sport. A big heartache for me was when Tino Martinez left. I felt devastated and somewhat lost. I thought to myself, no one will ever take his place. And no one really did. He was the first player that I had ever liked in any sport. But my heart quickly healed when Hideki Matsui entered in stage left. Well, left field, that is. Now this guy is something else, very unique. So again, I took notice, and he had become my new favorite player, and for a good reason. He was the first Yankee to hit a grand slam in his first game at Yankee Stadium. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to see the Yankees live, not just on TV. So off our family went to Minneapolis to catch a Yankees-Twins game. Boy, did I ever catch some guff from people, because I was wearing my Yankee gear to support my team. My skin toughened up real quick. It was either change teams or toughen up, and I would die before I ever switched teams, so toughened up I did. All that aside, it was an amazing experience. I started crying when I pulled out the binoculars and saw them warming up. I had to have more, so soon after, my family planned a trip for the Trump of all Trumps. We went to Old Yankee Stadium to watch the Yankees-Red Sox play. That will go down as the second best day in my life ever. Taking that trip just solidified my love for the team even more. Of course, we won the game, and as we were walking out of the stadium amongst the thousands of other Yankee fans, there in the loudspeakers blaring "New York, New York" by Frank Sinatra. That was one of the most magical times in my life. Throughout the years of being a Yankee fan, I discovered I bleed blue. I really did it. I made a big decision that was well worth it. I got a New York Yankees tattoo on my ankle. One of the proudest decisions of my life. Even though my dad didn't like the idea of me getting a tattoo, he was definitely proud it was of the New York Yankees. Just like the Yankees have been through a lot of changes, so has my personal life. I found out that I was pregnant, and I knew no matter what, my child was going to be a Yankees fan, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I found out that we were expecting a baby boy, and I was struggling with the choices of names. It was like a light bulb went off in my head when we came up with the name Reggie. I really wanted to name him after a Yankee player, and Reggie was the name. Reggie Jackson is who we named him after because, after all, this was my dad's favorite player and the reason why he started liking the Yankees in the first place. And if Reggie wouldn't have landed with the Yankees, my dad would have never started liking the Yankees. And if he wasn't a fan, having them all on TV all the time, I wouldn't have become a fan. So there it was. Reggie was born, best day of my life, and we named him after Reggie Jackson to keep the tradition of the Yankees going in our family. I wanted to teach Reggie what my dad has taught me about the Yankees and how he has instilled them in my life, and this is what I want to do for my son. I will pass on all the knowledge and years of being a fan onto him so that one day he can teach his kids how to become Yankee fans. I will leave you with this. Joe DiMaggio said, "I want to thank the good Lord for being a Yankee, for making me a Yankee, and I just want to say, I want to thank the good Lord for making me a Yankee fan." Thank you.